Hey everybody, good afternoon. It is 1:17 in the afternoon, a little later than what I had planned to do, but here I am. I'm here to do a bit of an update on a lot of different assets. Of course, I'm going to do my usual. I'm going to be taking a look at the S&P. I'm going to take a look at Nasdaq, and I'm going to be taking a look a little bit at bonds, actually. I do want to spend a moment or two looking at bonds, but I've got a lot of stocks that our members on the Discord have requested, so I'm going to be going straight down the list from the request queue after I go through the stock market indices and bonds. I'm going to work straight down the list. So I've got Ethereum, NIO, BBIO, SQ, Luna, Avax, Gold, Net, CLOU, ENPH, Riot, Atom, MATIC, Flux, BABA. Let's see here. I've got OMI against USDT. So I've got both stocks and crypto that I'm going to be going through. I'm going to look at BE, RNLX, KLR, ABCL, SAVA, DNA, and PDD. So I've got a lot to go through. Before I get into any of this, of course, you all know this is not financial advice. I'm not your financial advisor. You're responsible for your own trades, managing your own risk, doing your own research, and I'm just giving my opinion on the market. If you need access to our Discord, you can find all of the information on bitdoctor.org. And just remember that there is still a promo code available. I'm going to leave it open for a couple more days here. We've had a lot of new members joining on our trading room just in the last couple weeks. So just a big welcome to everybody. Thanks for being here. And let's go ahead and get into the charts. So I'm going to start with the S&P. So let's move on into the scene here. So this is our S&P market, and we had been talking about this for a while. Talking about a potential for, an A and then moving down for a B, looking down for potentially down here to 4,700. And this is on the futures, so we're really talking about maybe 4,725 or so on the actual index. But all in all, I'm not really quite sure that this is actually going to be what happens based on what I'm looking at here. What it kind of looks like is going on. I think we're still going to see a target up here, about 48 to 4,900 on or about the 21st. So we still have a couple weeks before that potentially happens. Just kind of taking a look at the little bit of the formation that we've got here. We looked at this as an A, B, but what this actually is starting to look like to me is more like a 1-2. And if that's a 1-2, we're going to get rid of the A, B scenario. This actually could be like an impulse move to the upside from this low back here. Again, potentially a 1-2, and then we'd be working on the 3-4-5. The other alternative here is that this is a completed correction, which is, it's very possible that this is the case. So from up here, we have our A and a B and a C. So we've got two different scenarios. I'm going to outline one in blue, and I'm going to keep this one in white because this is going to become our primary. From down here, I can count a 1, 2, 3, because on this 3, we've got a little 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 into the 3, ABC into the 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 to complete wave 1. So we've got a completed 5-wave structure. The only thing I really don't like is this for the wave 4, but because of the fact that we had just a shallow proposed wave 2, it works. So we've got this as a potential for a wave 1, and then we go down here for wave 2, which means we should be working on wave 3. Wave 3 is typically stronger than the first wave. And because of the weakness that we saw here, I would say we're starting to see that strength, and we're consolidating above our prior highs. So we've got prior highs here at about 47.40. It looks okay. So I would say it's possible that we do come down here, but all in all, I'm positioning myself for a move to the upside here in the next couple weeks. So if this is the case, and we are in we're in basically a consolidation here, this looks to me like wave 4 territory. So we've got a little 1, 2, and then 3, potential for a 4 here. We go up for the 5 to complete wave 3. So this is what this is looking like to me right now. Again, it is very, very possible that this wave 4 comes down here. It would be okay if it did do that. That would be perfectly fine. Wouldn't hurt my feelings one bit for it to go down there, so long as it goes to 4,900 by the 21st of, the 21st, right? That's the Friday. Let me just double check that. 21st of January, that's the expiration. I'm looking for the S&P to go up to 4,900. And again, the main reason why, we've talked about this in the last video, we talked about it yesterday, so I'm not going to bring up the chart again. Open interest on everything as far as options are related, as it relates to SPY, are very, very bearish. So we're just going to have to wait and see. I assume that there's going to be a lot of puts that are opening right here that are going to be expecting a big move down, right? So they're probably going to be looking for, the equivalent here, about 47.50, maybe 47.28, expecting it to go much further down, and they're going to become rich millionaires. That's not going to be likely what happens. It's possible we come down here. Those people are going to get very confident in their positions. They're not going to close them out. Then we're going to turn around and roll up, and we're going to basically have all of these short positions that are likely opening on a day like today. They're going to expire worthless. They're going to be looking for a couple weeks time. So you're going to see a lot of options activity going into those expiration dates, which are dated further out, which means they're inherently more expensive, which also means they're going to decay as long as they remain out of the money. So that's my thoughts on the S&P. Let's take a look at Nasdaq. Because Nasdaq has not been performing very well at all. Nasdaq has seen that nasty pullback. I would say that Nasdaq in this level right here, we've been talking about this little green box for a while, and it actually goes further back. If we go all the way back here, you can see that we've got our resistance that was clearly defined back here, lots of levels of resistance, lots of levels of support, which also became resistance in many cases. I would expect if we did come down there, I would be willing to buy this all day long. And again, very similar to the S&P, if this is the completion of a correction, right? If this is a nice A, B, C, we finished this, or maybe WXY. Let's go ahead and put this in here. So if we mark this out as a W and an X and a Y, well, then we should be looking for that same scenario. Again, removing this as an ABC and looking for it more in terms of an impulse. So from down here, we've got a nice 1, ABC into the 2. We've got a little bit of a deep 2, a big 3 going down here for the 4, and then again, looking for a move up to a 5, maybe to 16.9, 17,000 would not surprise me one bit. All right, so let's just go ahead and measure this. And we talked about this yesterday. I'm going to measure wave 1. And I'm going to project it from the low that we've got right here today. So we've got the 1618, which is going to be sitting right here at about 16,725. How far did wave 3 actually go? It went beyond the 2618. It went almost to the 3618. So it was about 300% the length of wave 1, which means we could go to the 2618 for a wave 5. And where's the 2618 on the wave 5? Well, the 2618 is sitting all the way up here again at 17,076. So it's very possible it goes to 16,917, somewhere in that range. Ultimately, I'm still looking for a move up here to this level at about 17,375 over time. It's going to take time to get there, but it will get there more than likely. And at that point, I'm going to be looking for a larger move down to correct this. As you can see, I've got a channel that I've had on this for quite some time here. And we've got nice levels of resistance at the top. We've got nice levels of support at the bottom, resistance at the top. We've got a little bit of a front run down here at the bottom. So is it going to come all the way down here? Well, I doubt it. If it does, it's probably not going to happen until Friday, the 21st. So likely that's going to be where it's going to be looking for a potential move down here to 15.8. I don't think that's going to happen. It would really surprise me if it did, but it would be more likely for us to start to move up and out into higher price territory, given some time. Because again, I believe that we've completed major corrections, and now we are in that area where we, although today has been kind of a red day, ultimately I think we're in for a bounce into the next 2 weeks or so. So that's my thoughts on Nasdaq. Let's take a look at Bitcoin. Bitcoin versus Tether has really just been chopping quite a bit. We do have some members on the Discord that were talking about this buy on our indicator, which if you need access to our indicator, bitdoctor.org, all the information you need to access the indicator is on that as well. We had a nice buy signal back here, and this was, at prices lower than what it currently is. We had that buy basically right here at about 46,270. I kind of thought we were going to go, a little bit lower. I posted an alert. I even posted it out on Twitter. I don't believe that target actually got hit for the long position. But nonetheless, this doesn't look terrible. This looks like a completed correction, which means we are potentially in a leading diagonal. If we did happen to come up to that $48,000 target, which right now it doesn't look like is possible, but we would really need to hold this level right here at about 45,950. As long as we hold 45,950, which is quite a ways away from where we're at right now, we're at 46.5 right now. As long as we hold this level down here, the potential for that lead in diagonal is good. And so I would say that it's very, very possible for us to go down there, which would open up the upside to 46,000 and again up to that $52,000 target that we've been talking about for quite some time now. It looks like it's probably far away. The hourly still needs some time to reset, but honestly, the 12-hour, the 3-hour looks okay. So give it a few hours. More than likely, this is going to start curling. I'd really, really like to see it move up to 48,000, get a little bit of a rejection there, get the pullback here, about to where we're at right now, and then we can see that move up. These levels here that I've outlined at about 46,675, 46,575, pretty important. We need to get through that right now. All right, so as I go through the stocks, I'm going to get my moving averages on here because this is something I like to look at when I look at individual stocks. So let's go ahead and move into all of those. I'm going to start with Ethereum because that's the first on the list. So Ethereum versus the dollar. On the hourly, it's currently trading above all major moving averages, which is really good, as opposed to Bitcoin. Let's go back to Bitcoin, which is trading below all major moving averages, which looks bearish compared to them all. But as long as Bitcoin does get that bounce, then I think a lot of these others, like Ethereum, again going back to Ethereum, is probably going to get a boost to the upside. Alts have been performing better than Bitcoin has over the last few days. We had a buy signal back here, but again, just as kind of an education piece, the 12-hour was moving down. When that 12-hour bottomed out, it was all the way down here at about 3,700, and now we're sitting at 38.25. So all in all, net positive. We were being suppressed by the 200 exponential. That's the 200 simple. The red line is the 200 simple here on the hourly. Let's move to a higher time frame. Let's look at the 4-hour and see what the 4-hour looks like. 4-hour is being suppressed by the 200 simple moving average, which is currently sitting here at about 39.95. So for me to be extremely bullish on Ethereum, we need to break up above 4,000 on a 4-hour basis right now. But as of right now, previously was kind of suppressed by the 55 exponential. Now it's trading above, retesting it right now. So as long as it maintains above 3,800, I would say short term, I am going to be a little bit of a bull on this. Again, this formation that we see right here, a lot of people are going to see this as a 1-2-1-2. I tend to say that this is more of like a leading diagonal, a 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. We're getting that little bit of a pullback, and then we can see a move up to higher prices. Potentially, this is going to do a retest of the 21 exponential at about 37.85, which looks like it's trying to do right now. It's about $25 away right now. But that's what I would expect to see. A lot of people are going to be quick to say this is a 1-2-1-2. I doubt that. I'd say it's more like a 1-2-3-4-5. I'd say that's probably more realistic. So that's what I'm going to say this is looking like right now. The only thing I don't like, honestly, is the weekly is still pretty high moving down. That's the only thing I don't like about Ethereum right now. Whereas Bitcoin, again, because I have to compare, Bitcoin right now, the weekly is much lower. So I have to say that the weekly on Bitcoin is getting close to the bottom, but on some of the alts, and Ethereum is one of them, it looks like it still has a little ways to go. So upside is probably capped for the short term. Let's take a look at NIO. Again, going straight down the list. I'm just going to move into some stocks here. Let's see, remove that. All right, so NIO is trading above the 21 exponential on the 4-hour. I'm going to remove this. Um, let's see here. The weekly looks really good on NIO. Back here, we had the 1 hour, the 3 hour, and the daily all in oversold all at the same time. That was a great place to be buying. And actually, we had a cross on the daily right here at about 29.70. It's only at 31.58 right now. Obviously, there was a big day back last, what was that, last Thursday? Thursday, Friday, whatever the 30th was. There was a big day. A lot of people were calling basically the bottom of Chinese stocks back then. You had a lot of people talking about Baidu. We had a lot of people talking about Snowflake and NIO and all of these different Chinese stocks having basically a bottoming in formation. And it's very possible that that's the case. This was a big day that that NIO had last Thursday. Needs a little bit of time to kind of reset after a big day like this. You can see here, let me move to the hourly. Let's see right here, the 1 hour, the 3 hour, and the daily all in oversold all at the same time. This is actually down here at the bottom. I think what I stated previously was on a 4 hour chart, so that wasn't completely accurate. But the 1 hour, the 3 hour, the 12 hour, all in oversold all at the same time right down here, and that happened to be down here at about $28. And right now, we've got a bullish cross on the 21 and the 55, the 21 and the 100. The 55 and the 100 are trying to cross, again, suppressed by the 200 simple. Right, so if we're trading below the 200 simple, when you get a retest of that, you're almost always going to get a rejection of it until you can start closing above. See back here, we closed above it and we had that as support until it broke down. Then it was resistance, 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 and then finally a failure. Okay, so those are the things that you really have to pay attention to. So naturally, when you get a retest of that, you're going to get a little bit of a rejection right there, and then that's likely where it's going to, you're going to get a little bit of a rejection, come back and retest some of these. These moving averages are magnets. They're not crystal balls, but they are magnets most of the time, but also realizing that they are not trend lines. They're moving averages, so they move with the price action. They move based on what the price action is. But the majority of the time, you're going to get a retest of those moving averages as time goes by. The bigger question is your timing right? And a lot of times that's where people get caught up. That's where people tend to lose because they tend to go too big on cheap things like options, not giving themselves enough time to let the trade play out when they very well could have been right the whole time, but because they were going for the cheaper play that had the greater reward, well, they didn't have enough time on it, so it ends up losing overall. So you have to be really careful with that. If you don't want to spend a whole lot of money on options that go out quite a ways, then you can work on debit spreads or credit spreads to reduce your risk. Also understand that your reward is also going to be capped as well with that, but the risk tends to be a lot less. All right, so let's go ahead and keep on going. I'm going to look at BBIO. What is BBIO looking like today? So here's the thing about this. It doesn't look like there was any kind of major event here. Let me go to the daily here for a moment. There was no stock split. There was no dividend, at least that it's showing here. Big move down. Yeah, the weekly is oversold, but the weekly was oversold back here. I'm going to keep this really simple. I'm not interested in this because of the big move down. Now, certainly, if you caught back there, you're currently up 44%. There can be some serious upside to this, but the chances of it continuing to the upside, reverting back to where it was, you're going to be met by this 21 daily here at $28, which is going to be moving down at a rapid rate because the price dropped significantly. The price dropped 72% overnight back on December 27th. So these are the kinds of things that I stay away from. Right now we're currently trading right around the 21 exponential. Likely if it gets up here to 1985, it's going to get a rejection there. So the indicator is not reliable for anything. Any indicator is not going to be reliable for something that has gone down so much over the course of one day. So again, I'm going to kind of move on from this. I would say to kind of avoid stuff that looks like this, that's basically fallen off a cliff. SQ. You see, a lot of tech has had a pretty nasty day today, all in all. We were trading SQ, as you can see up here. I was doing some day trading on SQ back when it was up in the 250 range, and now it's sitting down here at 150. Huge move to the downside that SQ has had. The weekly, however, is basically completely reset. So let's just look at this from the top all the way up here. The weekly, this was back up here when price was at about 270. We had a bearish cross on the weekly. We had a move down, a nice bounce, but look at what has happened. But now the weekly has reset. So SQ, to me, actually looks okay. Would I be interested in taking a trade here? Actually, I kind of would be. Let's just take a look and see what this potentially looks like. What is your risk on a trade like this? Giving yourself, again, about 4%. That's going to be right there at about 145.50. And you're going to be looking to take this. Because again, this is on a weekly scale. So I'm going to be looking to basically do a retrace of this entire move down. So dominant pivot high right there to the low internally right here. And again, this is also making an assumption that it doesn't go down any further, which it absolutely could. But I'd be looking to take a trade here to the 382. I'd be looking to take a trade to there. And the reason why I like the 382, again, based on where the current price action is looking left. We've got support here, resistance here. So this level right here, that's at about 193. At about 193, I'd be looking to get out of that. And that's a 27% trade approximately from where the price currently is. But that should be resistance, right? And you can see right here, it was resistance. That level right here, we had to push down, pull back. Let me just zoom in here. Right, we had to push down, we had to pull back, the bearish pullback, bearish throwback, and it got rejected, and now we're sitting all the way down here about 151. I would expect 150, a nice psychological number. I would expect 150 is going to hold. So all in all, I would say SQ looks really good today. Yesterday, I would say that it looked okay. It did look a little bit of a bear flag, and it looks like we've got that breakdown, but I would expect we're going to see a little bit of a bounce on SQ over the next several weeks and or months. Because again, I'm telling you this all based on the weekly indicator, which means, yes, it could go down a little bit further, but all in all, I expect that 150 psychological level to hold. So that's what I'm going to be saying on SQ. And again, looking for a move up to about 195. Or so, maybe 193, somewhere in that range. But something else that you can do is as you move, as a trade gets into profitable territory, you can put your stop loss right at the 21 exponential in the hourly, right? You could just adjust your stop loss as you go. So, maybe it gets up here to 193, set your stop loss to something where you're not going to be losing money on the trade. But you're going to want to, continue to raise those stop losses when you see dominant pivots. Again, if I was short, I'd have my stop loss right here. Then on a pullback, I'd set my stop loss right there. Pullback, stop loss right there. And he moves down. Pullback, set your stop loss right there. Down, pullback, set your stop loss right there. Eventually, you're going to get stopped, right? You're going to get stopped eventually. But at this point, if we do start to see a little bit of a curve, you're going to get stopped out of your short right here, but look at what you caught, right? You caught a huge move to the downside. That's assuming that you wanted to be bearish, which a lot of people didn't want to be bearish. But, it is what it is. Now we're to the point where I'm looking to potentially get into a position in SQ. It looks okay. I'm not going to, I'm not going to put any alerts out on it right now because I think it still looks kind of bad, but that 150, if it holds, then, that could be a decent trade. Luna. Okay, Luna versus Tether. All right, so on this, what I'm going to do, I'm going to put this 4 wave out here. Again, I haven't looked at Luna in a while, but what it looks to me is that we are, and it could be this 5 is here. I'm actually going to keep the 4 over here. Let me just remove some of this so that we've got a little bit of clarity. I'm actually going to remove the moving averages here for just a moment, just to clean up the chart a little bit. We had been looking at this, back here quite a ways. Looking at the bottom again, we had the 1 hour, the 3 hour, and the 12 hour all in oversold all at the same time. That was here in this zone at about 53, and currently the price is at 85. I would say that this does look like a completed impulse, right? We've got a nice 1, 2, 1, 2, 3, 4, 3 into the 4, and then a nice little 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 to complete this move. And from there, again, we've got a nice pullback here in the correction. Could be an A, B. We could actually be heading lower on Luna. It wouldn't surprise me if we did. Look at the weekly. It's way up there. The 3 hour does look like it wants to curl up. So it's possible that this correction is done. It's possible. I would say it's probably not likely because we went down below the 236. I'd say a move down here to about 79.50 is probably more likely. More likely what we're going to see is something that looks a little bit like this, where we've got the A, we've got the B, and then we're going to go down here for the C, something very, very minor, down here to, again, to about 79.50. That could be out a ways. We could be spending a lot of time here just kind of waiting for that price to be realized, but I do believe that Luna is probably going to go down there to about 79.50. That's what it looks like to me. Gabrielle said something about getting punched below the belt today on AFRM. That one did have a pretty significant pullback, right? But with AFRM, today it looks okay, right? So again, yesterday, the day before, I would say no. I mean, look at the weekly. The weekly is still pretty wide open. So let's just go ahead and look at this. The weekly is still pretty wide open. It's been wide open all week. I'd like to see the white wave, which is the weekly wave, compress a little bit. The hourly looks like it's wanting to cross up, right? So the hourly looks okay. The 3 hour looks all right. The daily looks not great. Not great. We had that bearish cross up here at about $100. Now we're at 81. It's dropped 20% in value in just the last, 2 days? So be cautious. But I would say after a 20% drop, these are generally speaking some of the better times to be catching something for a scalp to the upside. So I like AFRM down here. It sucks when you get caught, in a trade like that, but it's also one of the more important reasons why if you're playing equity that you take stop losses. If you're playing equity, generally speaking, you should be playing larger positions on equity, but you have to have that stop loss so that you're limiting your risk exposure. Because if we got this cross back here at $100 and you got out of this position, well, you can get back in down here and you can have 20% more shares, and you didn't lose 20% of your allocation that you had to Affirm Holdings. All right, let's keep on moving. Let's see here. Let's look at Avax. Avax has been performing okay. We had a trade that we posted back here. My upside for Avax was and will continue to be up here at about 175. It's again going to likely take some time to get up there. Let me move to a 4 hour here just to kind of look at this on a higher time frame. The weekly is kind of pulling back, but you can see the 4 hour and the 3 hour both down here in oversold. It looks okay. From down here, 1, 2. I'm not sure this is the 1, 2. I would say it's more than likely this is going to be the 1, and that this 2 wave right here is probably going to be down right here. It looks more likely that that's the case with a nice little A, B, C correction. That would be your wave 2. And then from here, you've got a nice little 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. A nice impulse off of that. So we've got potentially a 1, 2, and then from here, a little 1, 2, and then going up for, again, the 3, 4, 5 are coming. And I would believe that it's probably, probably in this run, it's probably going to get up there into that area. Again, it could take some time, but I'd be looking for something like this. 1, 2, 3, 4, get above the median, ideally, and then take that run for the 5 sometime in the next couple weeks. Very possible if that happens. Again, the 3 hour and the 4 hour look good. The 1 hour looks like it has a little bit more room down to go. Probably a retest of this trend line, possibly at about 103. But being in this trade from $89, that's not too bad. I'll take a pullback to $100, $102, $103. That's fine. Nothing worried about that. Okay, so all in all, this looks okay. Avax looks all right. That target is still going to be sitting up there waiting for me at about 175, which is where I'll basically be exiting completely. So taking a move from 89 to 175 should be about 83-84% profit. But that all in all, that looks all right. Okay, another member on the Discord wants me to take a look at gold. So gold is not something that I have taken a look at here in quite a while. So let's go ahead and let's take a look at gold. I trade gold based on gold futures. We had a really great trade last year where we had gold all the way up here. We closed out the trade at about $1,900, and now we are in the middle of a complex correction here. I'm going to move to a daily on gold because gold does tend to move slowly. I would say gold is probably going to come back down here to 1,600. Very likely gold comes back down here to 1,600. Although, let me do this to say that gold may stop at 1,650. And again, the reason why I say that is because from these lows, potential for the 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 into the 3, working on this 4, which will take time, and then 5 to potentially go up. Let's see here. Let me get a target for the wave 5 on there. Pull the wave 4 down here, again down to about 1,650. Upside target for gold is going to be at about 2,400. This would be pretty significant if gold were to actually pull this off. A lot of it depends on what happens with the U.S. dollar, because again, this is gold versus the dollar. Gold is worth $1,815 per ounce. Again, based on the dollar, right? So we could be A, B, C, D, E working on a little bit of a compression here on gold. Let me just go ahead and outline this, and along with this one right here. So if we get something like this going on, then I believe that it's even more likely that we come down here to this 1,600 target, which could happen, later this year. So again, going to take a lot of time for this to play out. I'm going to zoom out here so that we can take a look at the weekly. So I don't see any bearish divergence here on the weekly. Nothing really significant. There's no bullish divergence either. So it's really just a matter of just waiting for things to play out. So we have a low here, lower low on the price. On the weekly, we've got a low here, lower low on the indicator. So nothing out of the ordinary. This is what I think I see. Again, it's going to take some time, and let's just go ahead and throw the moving averages here in gold and see if there's any confluence there at the 1,650 target. I'm going to look at the weekly on gold. 1,650 it just so happens to be where the 200 exponential is on the weekly. We haven't retested the 200 exponential on the weekly since back here in April of 2019. So it would reasonably, it would make sense for us to come back down here to retest the 200 exponential, even the 200 simple, which is currently at 1574. But as weeks go by, that's going to continue to creep up because we're currently trading above that price action. We're being propped up by the 100 exponential on the weekly. If we break down below that, you can be almost certain that we're going to go to the 200 exponential and or the 200 simple on the weekly. So that's my thought on gold. Again, that upside target is still going to be sitting up there that we'll kind of keep an eye on. But again, we're taking a look at, what did I say, about 2,400, 2,417 or so. But again, gold and silver are heavily manipulated. So timing that move to 2,400, it could take a decade to get there. So you just have to realize that could take some time to do. All right, let's take a look at net. This is Cloudflare. Okay. Cloudflare, oh man, another one that's just been completely decimated today. The weekly on Cloudflare is getting down there. We've had prior support here. So I would say, and after resistance, right, we've got resistance, then we had support, now we're coming back and we're retesting that support. And now it just so happens that we've got the 1 hour, the 3 hour, the daily, and almost the weekly down here in this area. I would give Cloudflare a little bit more time to mature down here in this price range. If we start to see a little bit of a move up, then I would say to buy the pullback. But for right now, if it just continues to kind of move sideways here, maybe a little bit of a spike down, I would say it's probably going to break down. So you'd have to be very cautious for that. I wouldn't be buying net today. I would probably wait a couple days, wait until the end of the week for this, again, to kind of mature down here in this area. Let's see here, CLOU. Cloudberry, whoops, that's probably not the right one that you want me to take a look at here. No, Cloud. Oh, CLOU, this one, Cloud Computing. Another one, okay, so there was a dividend that was paid, 47 cents, and it has dropped since then. It's usually a drop after dividends. It's actually dropped $2, so it's dropped 300% on top of what the dividend payout was. I would say the daily doesn't look good enough to be buying here, but I would, again, give it some time. Give it some time. I wouldn't be interested in buying this right now. Looking left, it does look like it probably wants to come down here to about 24. 24 is that next level of support that it's probably going to go to. And I'm saying that because it's currently trading below this level here where we had prior support and resistance. And we're currently trading below that. So I would say the next level it's probably going to go to is down here at about 24. I'd be looking for it at about 24. That's kind of what my gut says on this, knowing honestly knowing nothing about it other than just looking at the chart. ENPH, In Phase Energy. This one is, I'm torn on this because we're creating a lower low and the daily is creating a higher low currently, but the weekly looks like it still has some downward pressure. Is there a trade that you could take here? I actually think there probably is. And gosh, 3.5% takes you all the way down here to about 166. But your upside potential, I would probably take this, again, for about 1 or 2 weeks, I would take this trade. But you gotta keep that stop loss down here at about 166. I would say that there probably is a trade you could take here, but remember that the bounces are probably going to be sold off. You've got a level right here, which is where I have outlined this, and it happens to coincide with the 200 exponential, which is probably going to be where that 200 simple is after just a few short days, and this is on an hourly basis. The 1 hour and the 3 hour kind of getting down there. It's probably going to drop a little bit more, maybe down here to about 170, 75 or so. So probably a couple dollars down it's going to go, which means you could probably reduce your risk a little bit more, increase your potential profit. But I'd be looking to get out, basically in these areas, taking a little bit of profit there at about 190, taking more profit at 200. The levels are pretty clear here and they happen to be on, pretty solid psychological levels. Nice resistance here at 190. Back here, nice resistance at 200. And over here as well, just in the last few days, we've had a lot of resistance there at 190. So I'm going to be somewhat bearish below 190. If it can get above 190, then again, I believe it's going to go to 200. And then potentially a little bit higher, you're going to have, actually, it seems like almost every $10, you've got significant support and resistance. So there's a 230. 220, however, nothing meaningful at 220. Next level is going to be right here at about 245. So as we get higher, the levels do tend to kind of move out a little bit. And of course, you've got that 281. So about every $10 from 190, 200, 210, and then from there we skip 220 because I don't see anything meaningful at 220. And then here at 230, and then 245, and then almost 260, and then all the way up there to 280, of course. But from right here, this is kind of what I'm looking at. But as we start to take out some of these resistance levels, assuming that we do, these are the levels that are going to be important moving up. All right, let's keep on going. We've got a lot to go through here still. Riot blockchain. Riot, I think, is going to go to $30. I think Riot is going to go to 30. You've got the weekly that's all oversold. We had actually a nice, good, buy signal. We had the 1 hour, the 3 hour, the 12 hour, and the weekly all in oversold all at the same time. I think Riot, again, I think Riot's going to go to $30. I think it's going to take a couple months to get there, but I do think it's going to get there. A nice double bottom that we're creating here. Riot looks good. Riot looks good. A move up to 30, after we've got this right here, a move up to 30, that's going to be approximately 27% trade. And again, putting your stop loss down here at these lows, it's a little bit more than I like, so I'd probably only go in about half. So that's about 7.2% stop loss based on the current price. If you weren't able to get in back here where we had the buy on the indicator, which is down here at about $23, it's currently at $23.50. So it's only 50 cents more, but when you're talking about something that is something as cheap as Riot Blockchain at $23.50 a share, every 50 cents matters. So all in all, I think there can be a trade there. I would go small because of the increased risk, and the reward, really isn't that great. We're talking like 4-to-1 risk to reward almost. But I'd be looking for Riot to go up to 30, potentially to 31.50. I see an important level right there. Again, just looking left, you can see the support and resistance. Hopefully, as I do this, you guys are going to start to see it second nature. We've got resistance here. We've got support here and support here. A little bit of support there, fell through. So when we do a retest of that, right there to make it a 34% trade, likely is going to be some resistance there at about 31.50. So that's what I think on Riot. All in all, I'm somewhat bullish on Riot. I think it's getting to that point where the weekly is getting to that point where it's oversold. We are creating a little bit of actually I don't really see significant bullish divergence to really mention. But again, I think Riot's probably going to go to $30. So let's keep on going. Atom. So this is Cosmos. Has been performing very, very well. So I'm gonna do my usual here. There is not a trade to take here. This is nothing that I would be buying right now. Is this something that I would be looking to sell? Let me go to a daily and just see. Let me just go ahead and clear this. We hit this target basically perfectly. Let me move this out. You can see I haven't looked at this in quite some time. So let's see here. We're going to put the 3 right there. Move the 4. We see this goes down too far for this to be the 4. Let me clean this up just a little bit because what I actually think I like what I see here. Okay, so I think this is going to be our 3 up here. And then we have nice expanded flat for the 4. So right there, put the 5 up here, which means the 3 is going to be right there. The 4 goes down here. And then we've got a nice extension up here into the 5th, which would be the 3rd, and then an ABC, and then 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 into the 5th. I suppose it probably can go up here to $94, which is about double where it's at right now. I would just be very, very cautious just because it's possible that this does pull back significantly. Looking at the daily, it could come back down here to $31 before it makes any move to 94. So I'd be very cautious. We're up here at prior resistance at all-time. Is it all-time highs? Yeah, it's at all-time highs. A strategy that you can take here when we're up at these price levels, right? You can get out of the position and understand that this level right here is key to take out. If it can take out 44.75, and we're currently $4 away from this. If we can take this out, then you can get back in. But right now, securing any profit that you probably have, right? Because honestly, if you're underwater on Atom, well, then you basically all you're doing is buying the top, and you shouldn't be trading that way anyway. But you almost guaranteed are in profit on Atom right now. I would be looking to get out of that position and wait for a clean break of this. Now, the weekly looks good. The weekly looks okay. The weekly looks like it could move up more. But again, looking at lower time frames, you've got the 1 hour, the 3 hour, and the daily all in overbought, all at the same time. So this would be where I'd be looking to take some off the table, or I'd be looking to just get out completely, move to cash, and then wait for a pullback, and then reinvest a portion of the profits or partial principal into Atom on a more significant pullback. Wait for a good buy signal, which we had back here. We had the 1 hour, the 3 hour. Not a great signal because the 12 hour was still moving down, but nonetheless it worked out down here at about 26. And if you wanted to wait for the 12-hour to cross bullish, we had that up here at about 31, which is still up, what, 33% from that price right there. It's up 31.2% from that level where you would have waited for the 12-hour to cross bullish. All in all, not a real great trade right now, except for just taking profit potentially. Let's take a look at MATIC. MATIC, a little disappointing here recently. We actually had a little bit of a buy signal back here. I do hold MATIC. The weekly is getting to that point where I'm looking to potentially get out. I'm still looking for MATIC to make a significant move to the upside. I've been in MATIC since about $1. So all in all, I'm not too overly concerned with this. I think there is potential that MATIC could to move up significantly up here to this $10 mark, which I've been talking about for quite some time, and that would be a nice 1,000% trade if it does happen to go up there. Currently sitting at about 140% on MATIC, but I'm looking to just continue to hold as long as it holds a lot of these important levels. Okay, as long as it holds a lot of these important levels, one level is going to be sitting right here at about 227 and 192. Basically above $2, I really like MATIC. Is there a good buy buy criteria down here? I would say that there probably is. Probably is going to bounce here. So I would say a nice correction could be completed here on MATIC above 236. So as long as MATIC stays above 236 on a short-term basis, I'd say there probably could be a little bit of a trade to be had here. Putting that stop loss there at 236, you're only risking 2%. In crypto, that is significant. Now, your odds of getting stopped out are probably pretty high. I'm going to be very honest with you here. But again, if we can overtake this level at about 258, I think you could stay in this trade for a while and make a pretty significant profit on this. Longer term, I'm looking for MATIC to go to $10. And again, when I say longer term, I'm willing to hold on to this guy for months. So that's what I'm looking at. I'm going to keep on going. I see that we've got a couple requests coming in on the YouTube as well, which I will absolutely get to. I'm still going through all of the things that I've got the members have requested, so I'm going to continue going through here and seeing what I can find. So again, thanks everybody for being on here and putting up with all of the back and forth between both crypto and traditional assets. Flux is something that I had requests for. So let me just say something about this. Yes, the weekly is oversold, but it has been for quite some time, since basically October. It has been oversold. One thing that I don't like, and I talk about this quite a bit whenever I'm doing analysis, I don't like the fact that there are so many gaps between the candles. That tells me there's a lot of low liquidity in this. So if you want to invest in something like this, which is only at 441, I consider this a penny stock. I would say, yeah, so we actually looked at this quite a ways back. We're actually back to where it was listed. Let me just go ahead and just trash this, because we actually went lower than its IPO, lower than where it was when it was initially listed. So because of that, I would say there probably can be a decent bounce made here. And as long as it stays above $4, I would say it's probably going to be okay. Keep in mind, this thing was actually trading at about 2167, 2175 at one point. Now, don't take a trade thinking it's going to go back there. I would say this level right here, it's important. This level right here, that's important as well. Again, looking left, that level is going to be important, but here, this level right here is probably king at 650. We got to get above 650. Of course, there's some other intermediary levels as well. This level right here, about 479. But really, this 654 has to be taken out. So taking a trade here, putting a stop loss at about $4, that's a pretty significant stop loss, just for the record. It doesn't sound like a lot because it's only 41 cents. But that stop loss is going to set you back a pretty significant amount. Let's go ahead and put this in here. Stop price at $4 is going to be about a 10% loss. For something that potentially could go up 48%. So that's a 5-to-1 risk to reward. That's not terrible. I wouldn't take this trade just because of the fact that it's so choppy. It doesn't look great. But if it is going to bounce, it's going to bounce here because, again, it's back basically where its IPO was back in August of 2020. So just cautious. Be cautiously optimistic on something like this. BABA, very similar to what happened to NIO not that long ago. BABA does look like it has created a little bit of a bottom here. From the top here, nice 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and then looking for a move up here to about 186. I ultimately love to see BABA above 200, but it looks like we're probably going to see a lot of resistance up here in this area. So potential for a 1, 2, 1, 2 on this. We've got to take out this trend line, which is going lower and lower. So if we can take this out, then yes, I can see we can see the prices going up to about 190 over the next several months. Again, months. We're not talking days or weeks. We're really talking months in this particular case. I think we can see the price up here to 165 sometime March or April. But to get up here to this 187 target, we're probably talking like July, August, September. So we've got a lot of time for this trade to play out. After that happens, what's going to happen? Well, actually, I think it's very possible that it does see lower prices. It's possible that it sees all the way down here at $84. So $84 is where I can see this potentially moving down to, given some time. So again, down, up, and then we come down here, which is the 786 of the larger move up. It's the negative 236 of this first initial move down, which looks like it's a completed 5-wave structure down, which is an A, and then we go for the B, and then we move down for the C. So this could be a several year long process. Several years it could take for this to work itself out. Let's see here, OMI USDT. I know nothing about this. This is going to be the first time I've looked at this. So let's just go ahead and take a look and see. We've got a nice bottom here. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 2, 3, 4. A lot of consolidation here. Let me go to the hourly. So just looking at this, obviously we've got a lot of support here, but it's hit this quite a few times. I would say that it's probably going to bounce. I actually have some hidden bullish divergence here on this as well. I would say that as long as it stays above 0060, I would say it's probably a good buy, which actually means that your risk to reward is not terrible. Because if you're going to put your stop loss all the way here, you're talking 1/4%. If you wanted to give yourself a little bit more, you got a little less than 1% risk. Your upside potential for this is pretty significant. Let me just go ahead, now that I've got this outlined for your risk, taking a look at this, potentially get our trend-based fib extension tool. And we're going to measure this entire move down and take it from a potential for a breakout zone right there. It's very possible this could go up about 50% based on the current price action, as long as it takes out this trend line, which I intentionally created based off of this this trend-based fib extension tool, targeting that 618, which would be almost at a penny, not quite, almost at a penny, at about 9/10 of a penny. That's where I would target that. So your risk is actually pretty small. I would put your stop loss again at about 6/10 of a penny. That could work out pretty well. The only thing I don't like is the weekly is still kind of moving down, but it's not wide open either. So it's compressing. It's probably in a little bit of a squeeze. Let me go over here to this chart. Do we have a squeeze? We do. We do have a squeeze here on the hourly, which it actually looks okay. This does look like it probably is going to see a move to the upside here in the near future. But again, real tight stop loss at 0.6 of a cent on that. I'm going to quickly go through a few more of these. Bloom Energy looked like it was going to go to about 16. I think it's very possible it still goes to 16. The weekly is still kind of moving down. There's not a real great trade here. It actually looks like it's in a little bit of a bear flag, again, that breakdown to about 16 is where I would be looking to be to getting into Bloom Energy. That's where it looks like it wants to go. So just give it some time. 16. Would I play any short positions on this? I mean, no, the market is still pretty bullish overall, so I would just be very careful with short positions. But down here to 16 on Bloom Energy is where I'd be looking. RNLX, really choppy here. I would say going to an hourly. Yeah, you see, again, this is where you've got a lot of these candles that just have so many gaps. Every candle there's a gap of some kind. I would say it's probably going to come back down here and revisit 13 to 14, just based on the spotty chart. I would say it's probably going to just continue to move down. I would say to avoid it personally, but that's just because I don't trade charts that look really spotty like this. KLR, more spottiness. It does look like it wants to push up a little bit though. So I would say it probably will move up over the next few days. And the weekly is starting to compress, which looks okay. I don't like it because it's really spotty. There's a lot of gaps. I don't care for that. So I'm not going to make any recommendations on this. All in all, looks like at one point this was potentially a SPAC. But anyway, you had that movement here at $10, which is what kind of gives me that basis. I could be wrong. Here. But it does look like it probably does want to move up a little bit. I don't really have any price targets on this. Well, okay, I guess I could do this. Assuming that it's created a bottom, you've got a target sitting at basically at $25. About 25, 22. That would be the first area I'd be looking to take profit, which is, it's going to be about 150% from where it's currently at. So, I mean, it looks okay. The weekly looks all right. Probably is going to see movement to the upside. But, just give that some time. Give it some time to work out. ABCL. Okay, another bio company. Haven't looked at this in quite some time, as you can see here. The weekly is starting to move up as the price is moving down. Generally, that's a good sign. Let me just throw some volume on here and see what we've got from a volume perspective. We had a spike in volume after this move down. That's pretty healthy. I would say to take a position here. Stop loss is pretty wide at about $12.30. I would put my stop loss down low there. Coincidentally, the 1 hour and the 3 hour and the weekly were all in oversold all at the same time, basically right where we're at right now. And we're currently trading lower. The daily is still moving down, so I would say it needs time. I would say that this needs quite a bit of time. All right, Cassava Sciences. You can see that there's some obvious support here at about 42. The weekly has been oversold here at this price point for quite some time. Yeah, so actually the interesting thing here, we had the 1 hour, the 3 hour, the 12 hour, and the weekly all in oversold all at the same time down here at 35. Is there a really decent trade right here? I would say there's probably not. I would wait for it to come back down here to at least 42.50 before I considered getting into this. So I would say not a whole lot here. Putting our moving averages on here, looking at the 4 hour. Yeah, the 21 exponential sitting here at 45.15. We're being suppressed by the 100. We got rejected here. We got rejected here. Now we're getting rejected below the 100 exponential here on the 4 hour. So just be very cautious. The beneficial thing is we are trading above the 21 exponential. So if it stays above the 21, I would say probably we'll see more movement to the upside, which that's currently at about 45. DNA. Another bio company, big move down. Looks like this was a SPAC at one point, just based on the price action here. On the 4 hour, it looks like a good buy. On the 1 hour, it looks like, it looks like a good buy, to be fair. Down here at 7.79. I don't like stocks that are below $10, generally speaking, but this probably will see a little bit of a bounce here in the near future. I don't see any bullish divergence on the daily. I do see a little bit of bullish divergence here on the hourly. So this is triple bullish divergence. We've got a low here, a lower low here, and a lower low here, where we have a higher low and a higher low again. So I would say DNA is probably one of the better ones to take a look at right here at about 779. But also, where's your stop loss? Because this is basically at an all-time low on this guy. So you don't have a support level to really base things off of. If we're going to be honest, there is a potential, if we take a fib retrace off of this high here to this low here, if we're being honest, it could go all the way down here to 722. That's going to be that next level of importance, and we can see it. This fib pull is actually being honored pretty well. I had some resistance here at the 786. We had some support here at this 382. And again, moving forward, did we continue to see that? Yes, we had support then turned into resistance here at the 382. And now we're breaking down below this. So it's very likely that it does come down here to 722. So just be very cautious if you try and take a trade on this, that it could go down further to 722 before it gets a real serious bounce. PDD. No idea how to even pronounce this. Pinduoduo. Anyway, I would say this one is not ready for buying. I'd say this probably has further downside to go. The 3 hour is still moving down. The hourly certainly is down low. Probably going to get a little bit of a relief bounce, probably up here to about 52, but then I think it's going to go even lower. So I would just be very cautious with that. It's gone down significantly. Is this one also? Let me just go ahead and clear this off, and I'm going to turn off the volume. Just taking a look at this, going back. Okay, it's not at an all-time low, which is actually good. Looks like it's completed something. It has obviously completed something from the low to the high. So we are currently below the 50. I would wait for it to come back down here to $44. I'd say 44 is the price on PDD. Prior resistance now should become support on a retest. If we can get that pull back to the 618, odds are pretty good it's going to go to 386. I know that probably sounds crazy, but if we get a move down here to $44, chances are it is going to go to 386. But also keep in mind, this move occurred from 2018 all the way to 2021. So that was basically 3 years, 2.5, 3 years that it took for that trade to work out. Now we've basically been in a downturn for the better part of almost 2 years. So if this is a 2-year correction that is now working on completing here at $44, it could take years for it to get up there to 386. Okay, so if you want to invest, not trade, but invest in PDD, realize that it's going to take years for that price target to be realized. All right, I'm going to take a look at a couple here. I'm only going to be on for about another 3 or 4 minutes. Again, thanks all for joining here. I'm going to take a look at ENJ. We were talking about this on the Discord last night. So this is something that we took. This was basically back in February. I'm going to clean this out because this is something that I think we actually had on a not log scale. Maybe it was. It's been a long time since we've looked at this. My upside target at the time was, the first target was up here at about $7, and then the next target to the upside on this was going to be all the way up here at about 41. Now obviously it's up significantly since then, and we took this trade right here when it was at 29 cents. Let me just go ahead and clear this all out. The trade was at 29 cents. So right there, I'm going to put it right here at 32 cents, but I'm just putting that there for me more than anything. It does look to me like, again, looking at the 4 hour, let me move to a daily here just to keep things really, really simple. Looks to me like a nice 1, 2, 3, 4, and then I think we're working on wave 5. I don't think wave 5 is done, but from down here at the bottom, we've got a nice 1, basically a 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, ABC into the 2, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 into the 3, ABC into the 4, and then we're working on that 5. I suppose it's possible that the 5 is in, but more than likely it's not, and it's got a little bit more to go. And I think that from there, we're going to get a more serious pullback. We've exited out of ENJ completely. But nonetheless, I think that there is a little bit more upside on this. Probably another 2 or 3x from where we're at right now, if we're being honest and fair. Probably will see that more significant upside. If we do see a further pullback here down to about 116 to 120, I would say that the chances are even greater of it going to $10 or higher for those targets that we were discussing before. Is there a trade to take here? So again, that's the question that I get all the time. Is there an actual trade that we could take on ENJ right now? I say the answer to that is no. The trade to take was back here when we were trading at about 258. But right now, I would say that the hourly looks like it has further downside to go. So I would say no, there's not a trade to be taken here. Looks like an AB working on the C. Probably is going to come back down here to 261. Currently sitting at about 275. So I would say it's probably going to come back down here where, again, we had prior resistance. We come back down there. I'd say we have some support there. That would be the completion of a 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 ABC 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Go down here, then I'd say there probably is a good scalp to be made there. Let's see here. What else do we have? DGB. I haven't looked at Digibyte in a long time. Let's take a look at Digibyte. Big move down, already bouncing up a little bit here. The 1 hour, the 3 hour, the 12 hour, and the weekly, I mean, everything is pretty much an oversold. I would say that, getting it on a good move down would probably be wise. Down here at about 3 cents. It's possible that this one does see more significant move to the upside, potentially up here to about 4 cents, maybe up here to 4.2 cents, 4.3 cents. But for right now, I'd say that there is the potential for a move to the upside. I had a comment on the Discord. Bitcoin had a wick to 45.5 and it bounced back to 46.4. Let's just take a look at this. Bitcoin did have a pretty significant move to the downside here on the hourly. Down here to, about 45.5, which, if I remember correctly, let me go back to Twitter here. So I was talking yesterday. Did my long actually fill? Long at 45.785, and the stop loss was at 45.600. So the 45.785 did fill. I'll have to take a look and see because I don't believe that my stop loss was in place because I can't place a stop loss before a position is opened on the exchange that I use. So yeah, actually that looks like that that would have actually worked. Very interesting. But at any rate, looks okay. Of course, that was a big red candle, and I'm actually wondering what equities have done in the light of that. So I'm going to take a look at that before we close the video. Bitcoin is creating bullish divergence on the 3 hour as well. Looking back here, finding that support right there. And there is obviously some demand on that, so that doesn't look too bad right now. As long as a lot of this gets absorbed, if I go to a 2 hour, you're going to see it. It's starting to get absorbed. Taking a look at the 4 hour on this, we're going to start to see some absorption on this. If we can close above this level here at 46,319, then I do think that even though we had that rejection off the 21 exponential, which as you can see, we've had nice clean rejections here off these 4 hour moving averages, the 55, 55, 55, 21, 21, 21, 21, 21 over and over and over. And again, the 21 exponential got rejected. But if we can come back up here and close above some of these key levels, which again, at about 46,300, that's an important one for me. If we can close above that, then I would say that we're going to actually see that as kind of a liquidation wick, and we're going to see a movement to the upside and finally take out some of these important moving averages. All in all, I'd love to see a move up here to this 100 exponential, which is currently about 48,151. I want to see Bitcoin go to 48, and then we'll see what happens from there. Again, let's just take a look at the S&P and Nasdaq, and then we'll go ahead and end the video here. The S&P, as we already knew, had a pretty significant move to the downside, starting to see a little bit of a bounce here. So very similar to Bitcoin, big move down, starting to do a retest. It needs to get up above this 100. That's going to be a 47.75. It's got to get up above that. Nasdaq, probably looking very similar. Big move down. But honestly, the S&P moved down more in the last hour than Nasdaq did. But the Nasdaq had a big move down earlier in the day at the 10 o'clock hour, whereas the S&P really didn't have a significant move to the downside. Nasdaq looks like it wants to bounce from here. So if you wanted to catch, maybe TQQQ or something along those lines, getting a nice, nice leveraged ETF to the upside, I would say down here is the place to do it because it probably is going to see a little bit of a bounce, especially overnight, maybe into Friday. A nice bounce from these levels down here. A lot of people are afraid, so just be cautious of that. All right, guys, I'm going to go ahead and end it here. I'm starting to lose my voice. Hopefully this video did help you. If it did, like, subscribe, share, tell your friends, all that good stuff. If you need access to our Discord, you can find all the information on BitDoctor.org. And again, the promo code for the first few days here of the year, I'm going to remain open. 25% off your first month's membership. You can find all kinds of information and content on education, on Elliott Wave theory, trade ideas and thoughts. And of course, there's a great community of members on the Discord as well. But of course, wherever you are in the world, I hope you're having a good day, good night, and a good evening. Take care, everyone.